Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a bonus episode of Spartan Shadows podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris. I'm here with my co host, Emmett, and we have a special guest joining us today in honor of Coach Dantonio getting his name up in the Ring of Honor before the Ohio State game. We have former MSU tight end Matt Seybert. He joined us last week for a little bit and wanted to come back and hang out with us, talk a little Coach Dantonio before the game. So, Matt, Emmett, how you guys doing today?
Good. Appreciate you guys having me back on the Spartan Shadows podcast, man.
Not a problem. We appreciate you joining us. I know Matt's joining us on his travel schedule because he's actually back in town for the game. And so he had to get back to Michigan. So we were trying to piece together a quick time to get this out to you guys and get it recorded. So we appreciate you taking time out of your vacation.
No, it's my pleasure, man. It's back in the min. It's only right.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully you had a safe flight home.
I did. It was actually crazy turbulence, but we did get here safely.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear. Emmett, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. Just a little bit nervous for the game tomorrow, but you know, it's an Ohio State team. Coach Dantonio is going to be in the house. You never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. So we thought we would just join up, give you guys a little preview of just talking about the game and then some highlights of Coach D'Antonio's time and what it was like playing for Coach D'Antonio through Matt's eyes and maybe just a little grab bag of anything D'Antonio related. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Emmett, you want to start us off? I know you got some questions you can start with.
Sure. One question that I did have was before you ended up going to MSU, Matt. What all did you end up knowing about Coach Dantonio? I know what I believe the Bolas went to your high school. So what all did you know about that
Yeah.
before?
Yeah. So Coach D, obviously, like everyone know who Coach D was, especially growing up here with the Bolas going to our high school. So Coach D was like, to see him in person for the first time like makes you kind of nervous because I always see him on TV. He was here recruiting. Um, I really just looked at him as like a legend already because he already had a winning record against Michigan while I was growing up, and um, he took them to the Rose Bowl when I was in high school, the Big Ten championships when I was in high school. So like he was elite already before I got there. So I didn't know anything personally about him. I did know that one time I went to Michigan State camp. I ran a 4.63 40, and he like came up and shook my hand, and that's when I was like,
Okay.
I kind of want to feel like I could play. I feel like I could play here. uh, and so I didn't know anything, like I wasn't too close with him or anything, but I remember he came to watch Byron Bola, who was one of my close buddies, who was a year older than me, come play basketball one day. I was on the same basketball team as Byron at Traverse City St. Francis, and Byron's a great basketball player. He could have played college ball, but Coach D was like in the stands, and everyone was super nervous because he was just at a small high school gym at Traverse City St. Francis. And I remember I missed like 3 layups and got like 4 or 5, fouled people like 4 times that game. I was like, oh gosh, I'm probably not going to get this offer.
Uh, that's
That's
funny.
awesome.
Yeah.
I know Coach D'Antonio. I've talked to. I had a few friends that, or not friends, but a few people I knew that were trying to get basketball scholarships and had to play with Coach Izzo coming to scout different people, and they said it was just like the most nervous time they've ever had because you have a legend sitting there, and you start thinking like, what do I even do? So
Literally, it's like very close quarters too in high school. It's not like it's the Breslin Center. It's like that guy's right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine at my small little high school gym outside there, outside of Flint here, it would have been I don't know, bedlam probably if somebody like that came. So um actually, I mean, go ahead. You got one that's better, probably closer to the stay on topic of where we're going.
Okay, so how would you describe Coach D'Antonio to someone who's new to watching MSU football and came on for, say, the Tucker era, or just started watching this year with Coach Smith? How would you describe him, and for someone who's like not there for the rise of the program during the late 2000s and early 2010s?
Yeah. I would say down to earth and more of like a process driven coach. like obviously a lot of coaches want to say like they care about the player after football and then and stuff like that. Coach D was very real with us. He said, like once we have the helmet on and pads in practice, he does just look at our number. Like we're looking at you as like, a player, and we're evaluating him, not showing no bias towards anybody. The best players here will play, which I think he's been pretty credible about. He's proven that walk-ons do get a lot of real opportunities at Michigan State, and they do end up being successful. And it seems like he has a good eye for that. And then like off the field in the team meetings, he's very genuine and authentic. He cared a lot about where we were going post football. He set up countless, even if we didn't want to, it was still very helpful. Countless team meetings with people outside of the football program, helping us out with future jobs, networking, staying out of trouble. In today's world is getting crazy, so. Coach D is just very down to earth and process driven. I don't think he really cared much about end results of stuff. Just very process driven type of guy.
Yeah, absolutely, and that always seemed to be the driving point. He'd hammer down, we're process oriented, we're detail oriented, and do the right thing, and everything else will work itself out. So I always respected that just from a fan afar, just because it seemed like. Like you said, the best player will play. It doesn't matter if you were a 5-star, highly touted prospect or if you were a walk-on. If you're putting in the work and you're putting in the best effort and giving the team the best chance to win, then you're going to play. So that was always something I appreciated from afar. One question I had too, and this may not have to be Coach D specific, but maybe somebody with his staff. With the coaching staff in general, what was something that I guess was the dynamic different between Coach D and the staff? I know a lot of times on a football team you're probably closer with your position coach, but who are some of those staff members that came along with Coach D that you were maybe super close with, and how was it like learning from them just on your daily workouts and day-to-day grind? I know you had, when we had talked in our interview, you had a couple of different coaches you had named, but just wondering like what his staff was like and kind of how you related with the staff and how they were as people too, because the staff's just as important as the head coach.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Coach D always said like, honestly, your relationship with Coach Manny and the strength staff is more important than your relationship with me, because that's the guys we see every single day, every single morning. That's the guys that will get our bodies ready to go compete and go to war. Coach D just guides everything. So he made it clear to us that those relationships are even more important. I gotta say my closest relationship with the staff that I got to grow throughout my time there was Coach Staten, Mark Staten. He ended up being my tight end coach in 2019. He actually just came to my wedding, which was cool. It was really fun to see him there. He really just brought like the best out of me. He's like, I feel like a lot of staff members, they're very stressed out and they don't really have time to like, I don't know. I was just a walk-on, for a couple of years. I wasn't like a guy they recruited there. I wasn't like one of the guys they built a relationship recruiting. So I kind of was like on the back burner, but I got really close with a lot of GAs while I was on scout team, playing like cards, like for Ohio State week. I'd be an Ohio State tight end right now, and I got really close with a lot of GAs who used to run scout team. And then, I would say Coach Staten is the one who really believed in me, saw me, doing what I was doing on scout team. And I was pissing off the defense for a couple of years now, trying to knock the shit out of people and make good plays catching the ball. So it was a long time coming, but Coach Staten probably is the closest one I got on staff.
Yeah, absolutely, and I know he was a big part, and you had mentioned Coach Manny a bunch too. So it's nice to hear, because as a fan, at least from my perspective, you hear about the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, but some of the position coaches or some of the strength coaches, even like down to the nutrition staff and all that stuff, you never really hear about them specifically, but they have just a huge part in your daily development. And so I always love when players get to shout them out and give them a little bit of shine, because they absolutely deserve it.
That's facts. And those guys don't get much TV time or anything, and they are probably the most important relationship to have. So it's a good point.
Emmett, you got another one?
Sure. This is just like a quick hitter here. Did Coach D ever choose to like play music during warm-up the stretches? If so, what was he playing if he ever had that?
Oh, you
Besides
know,
the Tony Kwan, of course.
I'm sure. You know what? I don't know if he ever was on Ox, but I want to say during team meetings he would play. My memory's terrible with this stuff, but he would play music. And sometimes I feel like we would be like, "What is this?" And it would be Coach D on the aux cord before team meeting. I don't know about before practice though. That was always probably player rant.
Coach D strikes me as a classic rock or maybe like a classic country type of guy. I don't know if that's true or not, but he just
Yeah,
strikes me as kind of more old school, and maybe it's just because of Thunderstruck, but I don't I don't know. That's just what he strikes me as.
yeah, no, totally classic rock. I would say I would agree with that prediction.
Yeah. Besides Thunderstruck, any songs really stick out, or?
Oh man, gosh, as you guys know, I'm not good with my movies, and I'm also not good with my music titles either. Nah, not off the top of my head. Uh, Probably just a bunch of AC/DC.
Orgs. I think I had read something somewhere. Maybe I'm just making it up, but I thought I had read something saying that he was an AC/DC guy, which is really funny because Dan Campbell talks about AC/DC and Metallica quite a bit, and those two are like two polar opposite people. So.
Yeah, I bet Dan Campbell is just like screaming AC/DC on the way to practice every day.
Absolutely. I guess my really other question was just like the day to day. Was Coach D? Was he the type of coach that? I guess I know Coach Izzo really preaches it, but like Coach Dantonio, if you ever felt like you had an issue or anything, was he the type of person you could go talk to him in his office or give him a call or whatever the case may be, and just say, hey, I've got a problem or I got a question for you, something like that. Was he super hands-on like that, or was it more of a position coach you'd want to go talk to first, or what was that kind of vibe like?
And no, his office right up upstairs literally was always just open, and people were up there all the time, like either hanging out or talking. And he would always like joke about how he grew closest with players who always got in trouble, and he said it's ironic because he gets real close with the guys that always get in trouble earlier in their careers because they were always up in his office. But he's like, you guys who are disciplined and don't get in trouble, you guys can come up and talk to me too. Like my door is open. So yeah, he was very welcoming. Just it didn't have to do with football, it didn't have to do with anything. He was very down to earth, like I said, and always open to just hang out and talk. His office door was literally just always open.
Awesome. That's how I feel like. That's how I'd be if I was a coach or something. Just hang out, come. Anybody want to come talk and chill? That's cool with me. So.
Yeah, seriously.
Emmett, what else you got? I know you had a couple more burning questions over there.
Yeah, so during your tenure at MSU from 2016, I believe, to 2019, there were multiple, memorable victories like Michigan in 2017, Penn State in 2018, and then beating Northwestern for Coach Dantonio's record-breaking victory. Was there any locker room speeches, either before or after the game, that really stood out? For example, did Coach Dantonio mention the pending record at any point during prep for Northwestern, even if just an afterthought of, man, that would be nice, or anything really stand out from that?
Pre-game speeches, they were always pretty just to the point. He didn't really get too crazy with his pre-game speeches. The players usually got crazy with that, but he was pretty authentic during them. The Northwestern week, he didn't mention that stuff at all. He's I feel like he's the last person to mention his own record, as you would probably already assume. He's a pretty humble guy. Yeah, he didn't really say anything about the 100th win, but we all knew about how special that week was, and that locker room after the Northwestern game was probably the most memorable for me, for Coach D and selfishly for me at the same time. It was just kind of pure bliss in there. Everyone was so happy for Coach D. His family was in the locker room celebrating the 100th win. It was so fun. And then obviously for me personally, that was my first 2 touchdowns ever in college football. So to combine that with Coach D's legendary win and the success was just, that locker room feeling was way too fun. I couldn't help but just dance and smiling for hours straight.
I can imagine. What did those 2 touchdowns feel like, especially knowing the context of the game? getting your first 2 career touchdowns. What was that moment like, just personally for you and for the team in general, and getting to have that
Yeah.
moment?
For the team, it was that win I felt like was big for us. I think we won that. I forgot the final score, but we won by a couple scores, I want to say, in that game.
I
Um,
think so.
I feel like we like really put it together on offense. It was a confidence builder before we got hit with some injuries that year, unfortunately. But that just felt like a complete game by us, and it felt like Coach D really deserved that. And like for me personally, just like scoring my first touchdown, just felt like it made it worth it taking that risk coming from Buffalo and um, being able to have my family and like stuff in the stands see me in the end zone in a Big Ten game. Just like felt like, damn, okay, there's a reason I did this, and it kind of came to fruition right there. So
That's awesome. And that, I imagine, has to help, getting those touchdowns in a high stakes game in terms of what it meant for Coach D.
yeah, yeah, that was electric. It felt amazing.
So speaking of, oh, you can go
No,
first,
go
Chris.
ahead. Go ahead, Emmett.
Okay. Speaking of Buffalo, between your experience in high school, at Buffalo, MSU, and the pros, what about Coach D was different from any other coach you had, been under during your football career?
Ooh, Coach D. It's funny because Coach D and Coach Leipold are kind of very similar. When I was at Buffalo,
Yeah.
I would say that Coach D was the most detail-oriented person I've ever met. I couldn't even think of some of the stuff that he would come up with, like as far as like football game preparation. We'd have a manual about like I don't know 90 some pages, what we go over through all fall camp, and we'd have to read it as a team. And like a section of the manual was every situation that could happen in a football game, and I can't even think of half the stuff right now. But Coach D had us prepared for absolutely any single thing that could possibly happen in a football game, and he was just like he took it an approach that was just so detail oriented and like anywhere from that stuff to making sure we have the right socks on at practice or in the weight room in the morning. Like if there was a wrapper in the locker room left out, like everyone would pay for it. Just extremely detail oriented guy. He knew that the little things would turn into big things.
For those who don't know, Matt mentioned Coach Leipold at Buffalo. That'd be Lance Leipold, the current head coach at Kansas, who was a name that was hotly thrown about when Coach Smith was hiring for the job. So we could have maybe almost had a full circle moment there for you, too, if he was the one that was hired in. But
Right.
absolutely not complaining about Jonathan Smith being hired. I just know a lot of people were pulling for Lance Leipold, and he would have been Matt's coach at Buffalo when he started. So a little
By a
fun,
lot
I
of
guess.
people, I know
Back
you
to
mean me.
yeah, Emmett was one
Yeah.
of them.
I was banging
Yeah.
that drum in the Spartan Shadows group chat the entire time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah. That move might have made me a coach one day. I might have had to come back East Lansing and coach with him.
there you go, tight end coach Matt Seybert.
Yeah.
But going back over, I guess, kind of your career at MSU, I know when we've talked before, you've mentioned the Penn State game at Penn State as being one of your favorites. Was that probably your favorite win under Coach D, or was it? Is there any more that stick out? Personally, from your time, my favorite win was the Michigan game, and you'll have to do me a favor when you see Lewerke this weekend. You got to give him a thanks for that touchdown run from me, because that's still one of my favorite plays. But
With the helmet all messed up and stuff.
oh yeah, yep, absolutely. That game that was one of those games where I got to rub it in a lot of my friends' faces, because everybody's like, "You're not winning, you're not winning." I'm like, "Oh, we're winning. We're going in
Yeah.
and we're doing it." So I had a lot of fun with that game. So yeah, tell Brian thank you if you see him this weekend. I know you will.
I will make
So,
sure to do so. I'll make sure to do so.
but yeah, any other? I know the Penn State game was huge, and that was another big one. Is that probably your favorite game of your career with Coach D?
Yeah, I would say the Penn State game and that Michigan game were probably in the top three. Probably Penn State number one, just because of them being a top 10 team on the road, night game. I think it was a whiteout, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure it was a whiteout or Stripe Stadium. I'm not sure. Either way, it was electric.
It was a monsoon out for a minute.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Um,
but yeah, that Penn State game was awesome. And then one game that I will always remember was we played at Nebraska. I think 2017. I think it was 2017, 2018, and I think they may have had a below 500 record or right around 500, just weren't good. And you would have thought that that place was like playing for a Big Ten championship. It was like the most electric atmosphere I've ever seen. I did not understand how a team like could be not good like that, and the stadium just was absolutely going crazy. So that was a good memory.
Yeah, you hear that about Nebraska all the time. I know they have the sellout record that everybody talks about, but I think it was Sam Laporta was on the St. Brown podcast with the Monroe and EQ, and he had mentioned like Lincoln is like his favorite stadium in college to play at because I mean they weren't good when he would go there, but Nebraska and Iowa was a little bit more of a rivalry than some other stuff. But he said every time it was just absolutely insane, and you just hear that about everybody who's ever played there, which is crazy because I know they haven't been the best over the last few years. So
yeah, no, it's really impressive stuff. Actually, it was a crazy experience. It was so loud. It was insane.
yes, not much to do in Nebraska besides go to football games, apparently. So.
Yeah.
I know
You're
they
not
set
lying.
up the stadium for a volleyball game a couple
Yeah.
of years, I believe.
Yeah, seriously, that shows it right there.
Yeah, they care about their athletics at Nebraska, that's for sure. I saw they had canceled class for last week's game or the Friday game?
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine doing that. Just like, oh, hey, you don't have to go to class tomorrow. Everybody show up to the football stadium.
Yeah. No, seriously. They have no excuse now, though. Like, with Dylan Raiola and that new facility that they built, like, they should be able to build a national championship team there. Unfortunately, I mean, obviously I want it to be Michigan State, but they have no excuse with recruiting and stuff. That should happen in the next 4 years.
When they hired Matt Rule, I was like, I was kind of mad because that to me was going to be the fit. Like Matt Rule, I don't care what happened in the NFL. He's a good coach, and I think he kind of got the short end of the stick. There's, I think, maybe some more things going on in Carolina that were out of his control, but I think he's the type of coach that could definitely build a winner. So when Nebraska got him, I'm like, there's another Big Ten school we're going to have to deal with eventually.
I agree, 100%.
But Emmett, what else you got, buddy?
So one last question I have is, was there a different intensity for Coach D when Michigan week came around? The narrative was always, his looking back at his pride comes before the fall speech. Was there anything different for Coach D when it was Michigan week, or was it more of a business as usual?
Oh, yeah. No, he made sure, him and Coach Manny made sure that we knew it was not just another week. It was everything to us to beat Michigan. It was very clear that it was not business as usual and that it's going to take a little more this week than all the other weeks to win this game. And a little more focus, a little more time in the film room, extra reps in the weight room. Anything you could think of to help beat Michigan. That's what we say, like, even in the offseason, if it's winter workouts, Coach Manny talks about doing, an extra set or extra rep on your own or something extra to do something today that will help you beat Michigan when we play them in the season. So it's very clear that that game matters more.
The media narrative of, he's more obsessed with Michigan may have been correct behind the scenes, you're saying?
Well, 100%. We're more obsessed with them than they are, and that's probably why Coach D has more wins against them than they had against him.
I don't ever understand how that got to be such a bad thing. I know it's the blue wall turning it around, but like they're just like you look at them in Ohio State. They have the Ohio State has the damn clock counting down to the Michigan game every year, and Michigan always it's the same thing. So I get maybe they care about Ohio State more than we do. Whatever, that's fine. It's a rivalry game. Of course, that game means more. It's how college football works. I don't know why that ever got spun to be such a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like it because it makes it more fun when we do beat them because it's just like you probably should have cared a little more or you should have focused a little more on us. So
yeah,
it always feels good once we beat them.
Absolutely. That's how rivalries work. Even going to Central, we knew when Western week was. That was like, I mean, Western's the focus, and that's how it should be with your rival. And if they don't reciprocate it, well, then that's on them. But it makes it fun for us, anyways, as fans when we get to take advantage of wins. So,
100%.
yeah. So I just got a couple more. I'm going to expand it a little bit, not just in your playing career. What's the one Coach D maybe win memory of that you can recall? It could have been, his first game, could have been the Pride Before the Fall speed. What's your favorite when you think Coach D? What's the thing that pops into your mind? It might be something from your time, but
Yeah.
if you don't have to narrow it, I guess, to your career, if you got something else in mind.
Yeah, I feel like the Pride Before the Fall interview is probably the most legendary. Like, that's just the first thing that comes to my mind. I can't think about anything else that like was more favorite than that, because that just hypes me up every time I think about it. As far as I was there, I honestly just seen how happy he was after that Northwestern game. He was genuinely just so. It felt like he was very relieved and happy. It's been a kind of a little bit of a struggle there in 2016 with everything that went down, and we had kind of bounced back a little bit. But it was just it was happy to see him like pure joy in his face there, because he just he's been there for a while. There's a lot of hard work put into that. But yeah, the Pride Before the Fall quote is probably the most legendary thing. I would say for Coach D and I.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably mine too. But like, even just some of the quips in the interviews outside of that, like, just I don't know, when he would get sarcastic in interviews,
Oh yeah, that's true.
it'd be the funniest thing. He'd just be
He would
like,
get pissed in interviews. It would actually be hilarious.
I think he was
That's,
missing back out or something, and he was very short with the media. It might have been Le'Veon Bell's tenure
yeah.
or whatever, and he was just like, he'll play when he plays or whatever. That was one of the clips that stands out to me too.
oh yeah, that's funny. He's
Uh,
very authentic with the media. It's hilarious.
uh, um. So then, my if you could describe one player off the top of your head, not yourself, but maybe another player that you were teammates with, or maybe somebody that came before you, who best exemplifies a Coach D player in your mind?
Oh man, a Coach D player.
Like
That's a
if you could
big question.
draw a player that Coach Dantonio made. I know
Oh
it's a
man,
hard question, but
yeah, that's a tough one. I would just say, well, the word that comes to my mind is discipline. Who would be like the most absolutely disciplined player on the field? I would gotta say, I would either say like Riley Bulla, um, Riley Bulla. Just like a lot of grit, a lot of fire, does the right thing on the field, knows his stuff. Um, Riley Bulla, or maybe Lewarke too. I would say on the offensive end, I'd say Lewarke. Always knew what was going on. Kept a positive mindset, helping his guys out. So
that's how I was kind of thinking. Lewerke, Kirk Cousins to an extent too, because it seems like Kirk's always the guy that tries to do it the right way, and then when you
oh
see him
yeah,
in the public, he's I don't want to say conservative because I just think that's kind of how Kirk is. He's not super like he's never going to be the little edgier like Coach D was, but he just tries to be a nice guy, and so I got that vibe from Coach Antonio. I've never got to meet him, but I feel like Coach Antonio's everybody has always told me he's a great guy and he wants to do what he can to help you. And I don't know, Kirk just kind of
yeah.
does that to me too. Just the
No,
way
that's
Kirk
very.
carries himself.
I would say that's probably I don't know Kirk like that, but because I
Yeah,
was on his team, obviously. But I would say that's probably the most accurate, because it seems like a very humble, quiet off the field guy, family man. It seems a lot like Coach D.
sure. And then I just had one more. I know your answer is probably going to be yes to whether Coach D deserves a statue outside of Spartan Stadium. But if you were to make the Coach D statue, you got. Do you have like a specific pose, or maybe just like I don't know, I would probably put the scowl from the Pride Before the Fall speech, but
Yeah,
um, I
that's
I
what I
don't know.
was thinking.
Yeah. But would you, so does Coach D deserve his statue? And then where would you, what would you have any input on how that should go?
Yeah, 100% deserves a statue. I'm trying to think of how I would want it to look too. Like it's either that one, or like sometimes he has like a little smirk on the sidelines after we win a game, or like a game-winning field goal. He'll just have like a like a slight smile with like a side eye. I feel like that's like a legendary Coach D look. It kind of exemplifies like he's not over the top. He's not gonna lose it, but he's also like, yeah, I know what we just did. Like I know I'm him. I'm just not gonna say it. uh, yeah, I that's a good question. I never think about statues in like what moment should the statue be. That's a big decision.
Yeah, it is. And I thought, like, I never really think about it too much, but then, like, when they unveiled the Barry statue outside Ford Field, I'm like, that's just the perfect, because he's got the, like, little juke kind of like Heisman pose going on, but it's, like, perfect Barry. So,
Oh yeah,
uh,
I'm sure that they'll get in. I mean, I would hope that that decision is debated on by multiple people and talked
sure.
about until they get to the right one.
Just like when they make Coach Izzo a statue outside the Breslin, I kind of want it with, like, him screaming at a player or something, just to be like the Coach Izzo way, I guess. I don't know.
That would be great.
But yeah, that's kind of brought up. I mentioned it on the main show, but I know. I think Lewerke's podcast did it on the "You Are the More Than the Program," and then the "This Is Sparta" podcast with Strayhorn and Cedric Irvin. They all did the "Should Coach D get a statue" kind of topic, and I know it's not. I mean, I don't think I know a Spartan fan that would say no, but like, it's kind of a cool thing now that Coach D's retired, and it's nice to see him get his flowers. So I kind of want to. I like that little topic and kind of push the narrative. The man needs a statue outside somewhere.
Yeah, no, that is a good topic. That is cool stuff.
So, all right, Emmett, you got anything else?
One I thought of when you were asking about a Coach D player. We all know that everyone had a locker room impression of Coach D. Who had the best one?
Oh gosh, I would say Riley Bulla. He was funny with it. Like in fall camp, obviously, like we'll do like skits sometimes or just goofing around in team meetings. And Riley was pretty spot on with it. He was pretty funny. He had the whole team laughing.
One last thing I did think of. I know Coach D had talked, and you got to kind of get the sense that he would incorporate past players into things that he was doing in current times. When you guys were there, did a lot of former players, like, did you see them around a lot? I know obviously like Darian Harris is like involved with the university and stuff, but like, did you guys often get the players coming back and speaking to you guys about this or that, or
Yeah.
helping out the program however they need to help out? Was it a lot? You'd see them back a lot.
Yeah, there was definitely players who would speak to us, and if they weren't in person, he would have them like on a phone call or like on the screen, big screens in front of the team meeting room, talking to us. He always would help like bring former players or coaches or anyone like outside of the program to help us. He even had like I don't know if you guys know. Do you guys know the All Blacks, the rugby team overseas?
Yeah.
Like yeah, he used them and like their mantra and their team rules and philosophies like for our team, and like we would use everything that they taught their players like on our team, which was I thought really cool because they were elite. And but yeah, I mean, as far as former players, we'd always hear from guys and stories, and if it's before a big game, we would hear from them, or like a pump up video. They'd always show us pump up videos the night before a game, and like you'll have like either like Darian would narrate a lot of them, but other former players would as well, like special appearances for like Michigan games or something.
That kind of leads me to one more. Sorry, I just got so many things popping in my mind. So with the former players, did Coach Dantonio ever have like a Coach Izzo style grind week where he'd invite some guys back to like work out or hang out for a couple of days type thing? Or I know that's harder with football because you have so many former players, but was that ever something that happened?
Oh, I don't know if we ever had like that. I think I know what you're talking about with basketball. How guys, even AJ, I think came back for that this
Yeah.
past grind. I don't think we had that in football. Like anyone can come use the weight room whenever, obviously, or the indoor. Like it's literally just their place to use too. But we never had like a specific scheduled week for that.
You mentioned coming back and using the weight room. Are you going to go this weekend and work out at the new football building.
If I wasn't there for less than 48 hours, I sure would. But I don't know if I'm gonna have time to even go look at the new facilities. I wish I did. I mean, I might be able to Saturday because it's such a late game. But yeah, I don't plan on. I just got all my training done today, so I plan on I'm gonna be a fan this weekend.
Yes, I know you've mentioned to us a few times you haven't really got to experience game day as a fan, so definitely make sure you do that. Maybe if you're just walking through, maybe swing by and cut, because I haven't seen it in person yet either. I've just seen some pictures and some details, and it looks amazing. So if you get a chance, check it out. But yeah, Emmett probably would be able to. I know you've been there, so you probably get
I've
a
seen
little
the
bit more.
lobby, but that's about it, really. You can kind of peek through the I've totally peeked through the windows a few times and stuff, but yeah, it looks really nice. Outside area lobby that they do for press conferences and stuff is amazing. So
Yeah.
if that's just the outside, I can't imagine what the actual access area for the players is like.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much all I had. I guess my last one, I'll end it on the fan note. What's the biggest thing you're looking most forward to being a fan this weekend instead of a player?
I want us to storm Spartan Stadium for the first time ever. Well, has it been stormed before?
I don't. I don't.
Because the walls are too tall, right?
The
Yeah,
walls are way too tall to jump. In my opinion, I'd break something if I tried to jump off that wall.
Yeah.
So,
I've
um,
seen
Oh
a
man.
drunk fan or two after the Michigan and Penn State game jump it, but they didn't
Yeah.
break anything. All I'm saying, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a lot taller than I am and a lot more athletic, so I think you'd be fine. But it's just not. It's not in my
Yeah.
wheelhouse. But no, I can't remember a time off the top of my head in all my years of watching where we've stormed it. It'd be, hey, number 3 team in the country, we're unranked, first program win. Wouldn't be the worst game to do it if we pulled
All
out.
right. Night
You
game
know,
too. That's what I'm saying. Like,
for coach.
realistically, though, what I would like to see tomorrow is us win the turnover battle. Because I feel like if we can keep the ball off the ground or no interceptions, that I feel like our defense can keep us in any type of game that we're in. I really do feel like that. I would just like us to win the turnover battle, and I feel like no matter if we win or lose, which hopefully we win. I'm delusional about it. I think we're gonna win no matter what every game. But if we win a turnover battle, I feel like it's gonna be a game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Limit offensively and create some on defense. That's always going to put us in a good spot. So,
Yeah.
well, have fun. I hope it sounds like maybe we might get a chance to actually meet up. So I'm hoping so. But if not, have fun. I'm excited you get to go hang out with your teammates. And is there one specific teammate you're looking forward to seeing the most? I don't want you to leave anybody out, but I know you said you've been a long time since you got to see some of these people. So is there somebody you're super looking forward to seeing?
We got like a small group of friends that have like we're hanging out probably for 3 to 4 years over there. There's a few of them that I haven't seen. One Moofy Hunt from Utah, and then Jacob Asaya, and I'm hoping that I think my buddy Cam Chambers is going back as well. Um, there's a few that I haven't seen in years that I'm really excited to see. So
Awesome. Well, hopefully everybody gets to enjoy the weekend and the festivities. Even without a win, it's always good to get together with friends and old teammates and get the little. I know you're probably not old enough yet to feel super nostalgic, but once you get a little bit older, the nostalgia it comes hard. Let me tell you. So
no, I'm hoping that I feel like I'm gonna get hit with some major nostalgia. I'm pumped to see everybody and just to be on campus again. It's gonna feel crazy.
well, enjoy. We'll be around as much as we can this weekend for the fans of the podcast. We'll try to get you as much coverage as we possibly can. Emmett will be live, like always, tweeting from the press box. So we'll try to keep everybody up to date with anything we see during game time. And Matt, we appreciate you taking some time. I know you got to getting. So we appreciate you letting us borrow you on your vacation and tell the missus we said thanks for letting us steal you for a little bit.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting me talk Michigan State football and Coach D with you guys. It means a lot.
Always, and congratulations from us to Coach D. When you see him, tell him we say congrats and thank you. Emmett, you got anything else you want to add in?
Not really. Besides that, do you have a score prediction and first player to score for MSU?
Oh yeah, we got to do our podcast thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Always
I got,
do podcast. So.
I got a score prediction of 36-33, and an Aiden Childs rushing touchdown, first touchdown.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Is that Jonathan Kim walk-off field goal for the win?
Yeah.
Is that what?
It's
Perfect.
a 61-yarder. Yeah.
61 yarder.
61 yards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the leg for it. I know he does, as long as the conditions aren't crazy, which I don't think they're going to be. So, all right. Well, I appreciate it again, Matt. Thanks for joining us. Everybody who's watching and listening, thanks for your time as well. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week with our Ohio State recap and getting ready for the West Coast trip to Eugene next weekend. So we appreciate it again, Matt, and everybody. Thanks for watching. Go Green.
White, appreciate you guys.